This is our third session today. So I'm going to call it jam number 3.
Fantastic.
In this jam, we are going to look at some prompts, which I think are over here. Yes, prompts are over here.
Okay.
We're going to look at some characters. And we're going to look at some actions. And we're going to bring in genres the first time in a while, which we haven't done.
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to now do 15 minutes. And I didn't write
Like
an objective.
10 minutes, 10 minutes.
Oh, sorry, 10 minutes, excuse me. I didn't write an objective. So in this sense, we should have an objective, but let's see what comes out of it. We can write issues.
Okay.
We can come up with anything. So let's look at the prompts. So
Okay.
let's take 2 prompts off the top. I don't know what they are. The first one is, I love my robot because. I'm going to say because doesn't cry. Doesn't hate me.
Okay.
Do you have any reasons to love your robot?
Mm-hmm. All right.
This is
I
like
love my robot because it doesn't love me.
Oh. Ouch. This is the reality check robot. Right. This is like the robots that are like,
Yeah.
you need a reality check. You're not that wonderful. You think you're X, Y, and Z. No, you're terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all going to end badly.
It's the dwarves on the back of Caesar's chariot.
Okay.
Right. No, when you were when you were given the victory through Rome, there'd be a massive procession, and you would be showered with things, and you'd process right through Rome, and then right through the Forum, and you'd have all your prisoners and booty in front of you and everything else. And there was a dwarf whose job it was to sit on the back of the chariot as you were being swept through and adulating in the cheers of the crowd, and they had to say, "Remember, you are not God." Or remember, you are not a god.
So this is, what was this person called?
I can't remember. I don't know if there was a title for them, but they would happen in victory parades. I mean, it was reported.
We have to look this up. The Roman dwarf on Chariot.
That's
because we're limited
like
for time. I would look it up on my computer, but that'll take time, so I'll have to look at it afterwards. That's kind of interesting. The Roman dwarf on the chariot. This is like, the emperor's clothes.
There you are. It was a slave.
Oh,
so there you go.
It's a slave.
In ancient Rome, a slave would continuously whisper, "Remember, you are mortal," in the ears of victorious generals as they were paraded through streets after coming home triumphant from battle. So it wasn't a dwarf; it was a slave.
So
sorry.
Remember, you are
mortal.
Are just human. Mm-hmm. That's what the robot does. The robot says, "Remember, you're just human." Basically, you are mortal and weak, and the robots will inherit the earth. So
there you go. Okay.
So yeah, so that's the kind of the strange slave and non-slave relationship. Okay, worst job. I guess that's like, the robot could have the worst job.
Being a robot. Being a robot, being the slave on the chariot.
I actually think that it's funny because I'm gonna say that robot is a bit like rational man, and I say this with the kind of inside joke, as it were, because I have this friend who said that they would love to meet the rational man, the man who had no emotion cloud their judgments, that could look at everything, basically Spock, right? And they were themselves a software engineer, and they wanted to meet Spock. And And I have a friend who has an incredibly rational brain, and they're almost like the robot. It's sort of like, when you get carried away with something, or you let your emotions run over and through you, they basically play the robot rational man voice and tell you why you're being silly. And so it's like having a partner in life who's like the deadpan sidekick.
Right.
Worst jobs. Um, I There was a guy working at an office I worked at who had to clear the bird poo from the roof on a regular
Oh
basis,
God.
and they said they didn't mind the job because they had no sense of smell.
Okay.
And in fact, people that work in like sewage, like cleaning out sewage tanks and things like this, they say that you get used to it after a while, that your smell accommodates.
Right.
But what's a worse
Oh
job?
dear.
I mean, those are truly kind of horrible to imagine, but what is something that you think would be a great job, but actually is like a terrible job in a way? Um, oh my God, I thought of another horrible one. Um, I don't know if this is an urban myth or legend or whatever, but supposedly sumo wrestlers sometimes they have younger disciples wipe their bottoms for them. So
Oh
I I
God.
I
Okay.
I, I would
That's
imagine
pretty
that ranks
awful.
up there with yeah. But but a good job that's really a worse job. I mean, becoming prime minister is what Boris Johnson has wanted, I guess, all his life. Maybe that isn't the
Mm-hmm.
worst job in the world, but it is when you are so reviled by everybody. I guess it's sort of a what if it reminds me of the kind of the classic midpoint when you get the thing that you've been wanting the whole story,
Mm.
and then you find out it's the worst thing you could possibly have hoped for. Um,
Mm.
have you ever had that
Mm-hmm.
experience where you really really wanted something and you get it and you're like,
Nope.
oh, this is
No, I
terrible?
never get the things I really, really want. So I haven't yet had that rude awakening.
Okay, so the worst job therefore is yearning for the unobtainable.
Yes. Is
Okay.
it? Or it's obtaining the unattainable, because at that point, then you've got nothing else to do. I mean, what's Boris Johnson going to do after this?
Well, you're right. I mean, that's a good point. Fair point. Yearning for the unobtainable or getting or obtaining the unobtainable. Obtaining the unobtainable. Hmm. I'm going to just mix it up with some characters. So we got the useful idiot,
Mm-hmm.
and we've got mistaken identity. Oh boy, so we now got a couple of interesting things happening. Robots' worst jobs, useful idiot. So useful idiot, just so that we're on the same page, this is somebody who doesn't know that they're being used. Um,
Okay.
uh, so
Well,
so
a robot could be that.
a robot could be a useful idiot. Yeah.
I mean, it does,
Um,
it doesn't know it's being used.
the president or a prime minister can be a useful idiot
Mm-hmm.
because
That's true.
a foreign power can be using them without their knowledge, basically, unintended consequence. They think they
Mm-hmm.
have free will, but in fact they're a useful idiot. So maybe all of us are useful idiots in some way or another. Um, I was actually thinking about this. It's funny. I haven't seen these cards in a while, so I hadn't really thought of it recently. But propaganda kind of makes all of us useful idiots in a way because it
Hmm.
sets us on a course, and we think that we have free will. We think that we have made this decision, or that we have thought of this ourselves, or at least listened to people that were rational in our eyes and took on their good judgment. But really, it's propaganda has kind of led us to the inescapable conclusion that it's set for us. So it's like a trap, and we all become useful idiots. Like unfettered capitalism, like free markets are wonderful and all this kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
they have a sinister side, but we're not allowed to think of that sinister side. So there's all this
Hmm.
kind of pushback, right? So the propaganda sort of then fills our heads, and we keep pushing it. We become vehicles for the propaganda, so we are useful idiots. Um, so the worst job in the world might be knowing too much about everything, because you can't be
So seeing
duped.
through the, yes, but having to go through with it anyway.
Mm.
So you
Ig-
know it's all a lie,
Ignorance is
but
bliss.
you have to follow through. There you go.
Yes, I mean, so actually, that's the curse of knowing the future and the past. I guess somebody who, like, if you're a robot who can calculate all the probabilities and whatnot, you have a very good predictive engine. You know what's going
Mm.
to happen. And yet you have to
Hmm.
pretend for the sake of the humans that, oh, this is happening for the first time. But you know it isn't. Um,
Right.
the history repeats itself. All right. Thank you very much. Oops, stop.
Thank you very much.
We didn't get as far on this one as I'd like, but I feel like something was gelling, and I want to go because of course, then we have
Well, can you take a
genres
picture of this?
of adventure comedy. Yes. Okay. So now we have to do
Oh,
adventure comedy, mistaken identity, useful idiot, worst job, robots. Okay. This video is the picture. We will come back to some of this material again in the near future. It will haunt us again. We will be useful idiots for this vehicle.
wow. Okay.
Great to see you.
Wow. It was fantastic to see you. Thank you, sir. That was really good.
Awesome.
I very
Take
much
care.
enjoyed that. You take care of yourself, and I'll see you very soon.